international awareness programs. These programs are designed to travel as a delegation, as a group from the chamber, members and non-members, over to wonderful overseas destinations to learn about the destination, to learn its history, its culture, its infrastructure, and whenever humanly possible, to learn a little bit about maybe a component of business. These international awareness programs have gone down extremely well at the chamber for its travelers and the chamber staff too. And this year in 2023 is no different. A warm and inviting, friendly, but vibrant destination of Greece. Now, we're heading out there on November the 3rd. You all too better than I do know what the weather could be like in and around your home location in November. And what could be better to travel with the chamber on a wonderful trip, almost into if we bring it into the US climate, into almost a Southern California climate, low humidity, sunny days, crystal blue oceans, and what's a little bit longer than California is a history spanning centuries upon centuries. Now, this particular program is what we call our cruise philosophy on land. Our cruise philosophy on land is one hotel, one pack, one pack. This brings you into a destination where there's no constant packing and unpacking. One day, just similar to jumping on a plane and ending up in Miami, getting on a cruise ship, that cruise line disappears off into the horizon, and one day you're in this port, the next day you're in another port, and that no constant packing and unpacking. We're doing the same by flying to Athens, and we're going to a place called Kineta, which is our home for the next 7 nights. And hopefully what's different than the cruise ship is, yes, our hotel doesn't move in the day, but we do. One day north, south, east, west, experiencing different cultures, different traditions, different sights and sounds, but always coming back to the same hotel that evening, the same room that evening, and having a wonderfully rich and culturally rich, relaxing trip. We've been operating this program, for the last 9 years, I believe, and it's wonderful. Greece is a safe and stable European community and member of the European Union, and I'm sure you're going to have a wonderful time. Over on the, in a moment with the aid of slides, we'll go through the program. We'll see the hotel, we'll see Delphi, Olympia, the Parthenon, and all points in between. We'll see what we call our Cultural Discovery Series. Our Cultural Discovery Series is designed to, yes, any company can get you out there and you can see the Parthenon and Athens and Delphi, but we want to take that one step further, meet locals, find out a little bit about their life. And again, whenever humanly possible, find out a little bit about light business. Now, it always seems to be that our light business seems to revolve around alcohol on quite a few occasions. So we'll be learning about ouzo, the national drink of Greece, but we'll also be learning about olive oil and the olive crushing a plant that will be going. It's a family-run plant, and we'll see pictures of that in a moment and a conversation about that in a moment. So you get a little bit more of a well-rounded experience of the country sooner than just the sights and the sounds. Now, you don't have to be a chamber member to go on this trip. You don't have to be from the Raleigh area to go on this trip. You might have friends in New York, family in California, an ex-neighbor who moved to Boise, Idaho. Let them know you're going. Have them reach out to Ori, and you can even pull the brochure off the chamber website and review it. And if they wish to, fill out the registration form. which we're looking at right here. Now, I'd mentioned this is a Southern California climate. The world is a strange place in today's day and age, and you never fully know what the weather's going to be like. Today I'm in California, and it's gray and overcast. It's been gray and overcast for quite some time. But historically, if we use history as a guide, it's going to be at this time period. It's going to be in that low to mid 70s, dropping, somewhere in the day, dropping down to a light jacket in the evening, to, somewhere into the low to mid 50s. Low humidity. So again, it's just like Southern California. When the sun goes down, it gets a little cooler. We're in Europe. We can never guarantee the weather any time of year, but we've been operating this trip constantly at this time of year, and it works really, really well. So with the ADA slides we're going to go through in a moment, if I may ask a favor of you, if you could hold all your questions to the end, I would greatly appreciate it, because by the time we arrive at that section at the end, I will open up to questions. And if I haven't answered anything by that time that you need answering, please feel free to fire them at me at that stage. I promise, before I leave today, or before you leave today, I will do my best to answer every question possible. Okay? So why don't we head out to Greece from the comfort of the chamber building and see what we're going to see on this program. So what this program is going to bring is forth, importantly, spectacular coastal views. We're going to have sunrises in Kineta. And if you carry on to Santorini, sunsets in Santorini. We've got history spanning centuries with cultures and traditions far removed from the Carolinas. We've got some of the most photographic sites in Europe, if not the world. A warm and inviting, friendly people with great food, some of the best Greek salads anywhere. Of course it would be. All this mixed together with friends, family members, fellow Chapel Hill chamber travelers on a wonderful trip to Greece. Now, day one will find us leaving Raleigh. Now, before anybody asks, no, there are no non-stop flights from Raleigh to Athens. So we're going to have to go somewhere along the way to get to Athens. So hypothetically, we're going to go to a New York, an Atlanta, maybe a Charlotte, and then over to Europe with a connection into Athens, arriving sometime round about mid-afternoon on day two. And welcome to Greece, and welcome to the white city of Athens. Athens is a typical ancient capital city, narrow streets, busy areas. And the beauty of our program is we land at the new Athens International Airport on the outskirts of town, and you'll soon be met by your tour director. There are quite a few people on this program to look after you. As soon as you arrive at the airport in Athens, inside the baggage carousel, you'll be met by our representatives. They'll have a sign, one of our signs with Aventura World there, and they'll be showing you where the baggage carts are. As soon as you've collected your luggage, you'll head through customs and immigrations, where you'll be taken to your modern air-conditioned motor coach. Reclining seats, high visibility windows, and such things as that. And here's one of them right there. Now, as soon as we arrive to the hotel of Kineta, we'll be checked into your hotel with your tour director. And importantly, we'll have waved goodbye to our airport representative too, who's helped you get from point A to point B through customs and immigrations. Now, where is Kineta? Kineta, I love this destination because It's right about where the second tee is on Kineta on the map that we can see right here. It's approximately an hour to an hour and 15 minutes outside Athens, dependent on traffic. So we escape all the noise and the hub and bub of the capital city itself. And it's a perfect location to have our one-stay cruise philosophy on land trip. Now, our home from home is the Kineta Beach Resort. The Kineta Beach Resort is a typical first-class Greek hotel built there right on the beach itself. Kineta is the closest resort area to Athens. And a lot of Athenians have villas, second homes, etc. in and around the area. It's a low-rise complex. It's ground floor and one floor up. We historically use these rooms right here along the side, and sometimes these rooms here, dependent on availability. If you need an elevator, these rooms do have elevators here. But it is, as you can see, it's a garden style setting. There are very few ocean view rooms. So historically, what you'll gain is a garden view. If you're on the ground floor, you'll walk out from your sliding balcony doors into onto a small terrace and out into the garden. Or if you're on the second floor up, you will have a balcony. All the modern conveniences are here. A small pebble beach is here, crystal blue oceans. Here we've got the main dining room. We've got the bar underneath this red roof. There's another bar underneath this cheese-shaped building. And as you can see, full of, now you may not know this, but these are all olive trees all the way around. And here we are inside one of the rooms. All rooms have walk-in showers, flat screen TVs with radios, safe box, electronic credit card keys, Wi-Fi, direct dial telephone, individual air conditioning and heat, mini refrigerator, and either two beds that push together to make one big bed or one big bed. So there are some rooms here that equip 3 people. But as in anywhere in Europe, I strongly recommend that if you are going as a triple, you are friends, because rooms tend to be a little smaller in Europe. Now, here we are in the dining room. The main dining room is here, where breakfast, lunch if at the hotel, and dinner is served. Now, just in case you didn't read the included features thoroughly, I need to alert you to this fact. This program spoils you a little bit because all your meals are included. We don't have another program where this occurs. All your meals are included. Not only all your meals are included, but all your drinks at the bar are included in the evening too. So we have a lovely picture of the bar as well there. So you'll have beer, wine, local cocktails, as much ouzo as you can drink. And this is how this program was conceived over a bottle of ouzo approximately 9 years ago. Straight through those windows at about 10 o'clock at night, watching the stars above. It's a lovely place to sit and have a drink outside those windows in the bar. The bar is supposed to close at about 10:45. I have never known the bar close while ever somebody's there. The bar stays open. We had about 7 chambers there 2 weeks ago, and I heard a rumor that it was still open at 1 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, the staff is wonderful at this hotel, and I think you'll have a wonderful, wonderful time. Here's the second dining room underneath that cheese-shaped building. Now, here we've got some general shots, the main beach area. We've got the outside. This is the lanai, the balcony in front of the main restaurant. Breakfast. This is my favorite place for breakfast in the mornings. Now, on day 3, most probably you'll get up early because you'll still be on East Coast time. Breakfast starts usually at about 6:30. You might be up at 5:30, 6. Wander down to the restaurant. There's always coffee there from 6. And I, on numerous occasions, have sat round about where this is. The tables might not be set at that time, but watch the sunrise come over the islands and watch the dawning of the day is fabulous. First night's a night to relax. Take it easy. Have dinner at the hotel. Head to the bar. Get to know your barman. And then day 3 will be upon us. And here we've got, yes, just after sunrise. This is one of my photographs. The tables are not quite set, but the sun has just started to come up. Breakfast, head out to Athens. We have 2 visits to Athens. We could actually do it in one trip to Athens, but we figured we'd be doing you an injustice and doing it too much of a rushed tour to do it in one day. So we're going to do it in 2 separate days. The first day is going to be to all the ancient sites. We'll be seeing the Acropolis and Parthenon. You'll see the home of the modern Olympic Games, which dates back from 1896. It's a stadium still used today. You'll find people running the track, people sat on the bleachers reading books. We'll see the Arch of oh my goodness, we've moved too quickly. We'll see the Arch of Hadrian and the Temple of Zeus. We'll then head out into the Parliament area and see the memorial of the unknown soldier. We'll head into Constitution Square, which is the hub of the culture of Athens. All the way around is major museums, major government buildings, and such. And the architecture spans centuries of Athenian architecture. Here we are at the Academy, the National Library. We've got Plato and Athenian statues. And here we are inside Constitution Square. I don't know if we've got any builders or contractors there in front of me today, but if you are a contractor, thank goodness you're not a contractor in Athens or in Greece as a whole, because every time you put a shovel in the ground, voila, you end up with some form of antiquity. Everything stops. The archaeologists come in, they have to excavate, buildings stop. One of the fabulous things is when you're in Constitution Square, just head down into the subway. It's a free museum visit because all the artifacts that were dug out of the tunnels to get down to the train section are all there in cases. Mosaics, statues, vases, all there. And you'll see another example of this in a moment when we discuss the Acropolis Museum and how it stopped for a long time because of things that were found underground. We'll continue after that to the Acropolis from 447 BC. And it was constructed at the height of the Athenian Empire. Holds spectacular views of all Athens from here. And with your guide, first time we're mentioning guides now, you have a guide too. Obviously, you have a driver. Don't let anybody else drive except the driver. But you've got your guide too. These people have forgotten more about Athens and Greece than we will ever know. And through whisper systems, those microphones in something like a little Walkman, a transmitter, she will be speaking and bringing forth the commentary of the day. And here we are at the Parthenon itself, which has just finished its renovation. And dependent on the exact time that we're there, it changes color from a bright white in the high midday sun to a bronzy golden during just before sunset and at sunset time. It's a time to relax. After that, look at the spectacular views as we look down upon the Parthenon Museum below. And then after that, we'll head back to Kineta and to our hotel. Dinner, drinks, and take it easy. Day 4, we've got another included tour, this time to the Peloponnese peninsulas and the Arcadia region, some of the best farming lands in the area, and the second closest resort destination to Athens, Napoleon. But we'll be arriving into Arcadia, known for its villages perched precariously on hillsides, handmade terracotta tiles, white stone buildings. Will continue on to Mycenae, which is known as rich in gold. We're heading there to view the tombs themselves and also the Cyclopean walls. For those people who've been to Machu Picchu or maybe Egypt, you've seen the pyramids or the stone walls of Machu Picchu, very similar. These are huge slabs that were carved miles and miles away from its final resting place, that are all intricately placed together without the use of mortar or concrete. And they were all carved, yes, miles and miles away. And take a look at the centerpiece right here and how all these stones around it fit just right. It's also a mind-blowing event to see how somebody way back when these walls were built was able to lift these multiple ton stones up 30, 40, 50 feet without the use of a mechanical crane. It's unbelievable. We'll continue after that to the royal Beehive tombs. These are, yes, as it says, royal. These were the aristocracy of Athenian times. This is a place which was built into the hillside. Once the gap in the hillside was built, a half beehive was built. And as you can see, each stone slowly goes up into a half beehive. There's no mortar. There's no concrete. Each stone holds the next stone in place until the final keystone at the top holds all the rest in there. Once it was finished, the tomb was sealed. It was covered with soil, and many, many years, nobody knew of its existence. You do today. You have the experience to view it. Napoleon is our next place. It's a beautiful small coastal resort known for its castle. The emphasis is not to go to the castle because it's kind of difficult to get to. And there are no way really to get there without getting your walking boots on and maybe hiring a yak to get up there. So we spend our time down below in the town itself. It's a beautiful town with narrow cobbled streets with great shops, a nice port area. It's a great place to do a spot of shopping, maybe to augment the Greek GDP and raise it a little bit. Gold items are great things to buy here. 24 karat is the gold here. You'll get cloth items, leather goods. You can get a whole host of things in and around Greece. Back to the hotel. Oh, I apologize, not back to the hotel yet. We've got our first cultural discovery series. So this is heading out on our modern air-conditioned motor coach down a narrow village lane, arriving to a family-run crushing plant for olives. Now, the fabulous thing about going here in November is you're at the height of the second run of olive picking. So the factory and the plant, and I mentioned factory is in the loosest term, it's a family-run event. It's not a huge industrial scenario, but it will be busy with farmers coming in and filling these large plastic tubs full of olives. It's brought out into two different types, organic and non-organic. Once we're there, you'll see, yes, the farmers coming in their tractors. You'll see the washing process and sorting process to take the leaves and the stems away until we get into the final product. First run, only run for this place, virgin first press olive oil. Once the first press has been taken at this plant, they sell the mash to somebody else, and they can get the second run, third run, and what this entity calls engine oil after that, when they boil everything up to get the dregs out of the remainder. But this is an educational experience. To see this, to see the color, it's tremendous. After that, we'll be going into their laboratory when one of the family members will be telling us about olives and what they do here. Now, not only do they do olive oil, bottled olives, they make chocolate out of olives. And I'm sort of, I haven't had it in a while, so I've got a few wrinkles around my eyes. They make cosmetics too, and their face cream is unbelievable. As soon as you put it on, you could feel the wrinkles just disappear. So I haven't had it in a while. But wonderful, wonderful stuff. It's educational, but you do have the ability, if you wish, to purchase. Back to the hotel, relax, dinner, drinks. Next day, we got another tour. This is a half-day tour. Now, it either heads out in the morning or in the afternoon, dependent on sea conditions and on various other aspects of nautical life. If it be in the morning, in the afternoon, we'll have a cultural discovery series. We've got 2 cultural discovery series in the hotel itself. One, we have a college professor coming in from the University of Athens, and we'll be learning about Greek in regards to the European, or Greece in regards to the European Union. And it's a fascinating Q&A session, learning about the bureaucracy of the European Union. The next one would be somebody will be coming in and will be having a Q&A on the Greek way of life. So that's a good aspect. But we'll talk about the Corinth Canal. Now, at this moment, we expect in November it to have reopened, but there was a landslide on the Corinth Canal about 6 months ago, which they're busily trying to repair. And we assess that by the midsummer, it's going to be done. So here we are in the Corinth Canal itself, and we'll take a boat from one side to the other side. Now, our hotel is on the Saronic Gulf, and we'll be heading out through to the Gulf of Corinth on this crossing on a small boat. You'll find the various bridges and such things as that. If it isn't open at that time, then we'll view it from one of the bridges and then continue on after that to our ouzo tasting. Our ouzo tasting is on the banks of the Corinth Canal itself. We'll be learning about ouzo. We usually have some fried appetizer, usually some fried fish and such things as that. And watch the tankers coming in and out of the canal itself. Many of us have seen large cargo ships up close in the harbor docked, but very few of us have seen these boats moving at a heavy rate of knots, only a hop, skip, and a jump through us, almost going through a river. There are no locks at the Corinth Canal because we're in the Mediterranean, so there's no tides here. So there's no locks for them to actually have to go up and down off. Back to the hotel, relax, bar, and off we go. Now, this is an optional tour to Delphi, or really is it? It isn't if you reserve your space before the early bird discount ends. And I think the early bird discount, and I'll verify this, I think it's May the 14th. It is. Thank you. May the 14th. As long as you reserve your space on this trip with a deposit by May the 14th, this tour is free of charge. If you don't, it's $179 per person. Now, this tour will take us to Delphi, one of the highest religious sites during, and I mean highest as in holiest, religious sites during the Athenian days. This was an opulent, rich area. We're looking at the Temple of Apollo. It's built on a hillside, a steady slope that takes a zigzag up the hillside. We stop, talk about the various activities and such. We'll look down onto the olive plantations we were at a few days prior in the Peloponnese Peninsula. But here we have the Temple of Apollo. We have the treasury. The treasury was draped in gold. You had semi-precious stones lined in mosaics. You had golden vases, beautiful statues and columns all the way through the site itself. They were at the Temple of Apollo and the ancient stadium at the very top of the site itself. Now, we end the tour at the Delphi Museum. There is somebody that doesn't want to wander the site of Delphi, you can spend a little bit longer here at the museum. There's a coffee shop there. Grab a coffee, maybe a slice of cake, a bag of chips, and just relax and wait for the rest of the group to come. But the Delphi Museum has wonderful things that were taken out of the site, a lot of mosaic work, earthenware, statues, and some jewelry. Back then, you didn't have a jewelry box, you had a jewelry mannequin. So you'd get your earrings in the ears of the mannequin, you'd be able to put the rings on the fingers, even toe rings would be on the toes. And here you can see ivory mannequins, the face, the feet. You can see some hands there and arms there. Yes, they've survived all those centuries, and they're here in the museum. There are a lot of other artifacts in the main Acropolis Museum, which we're going to see a little bit later on in the week. Back to the hotel, relax, bar, drinks, dinner, whichever order you'd like, rest up. And this is the only day when we have yes, without a doubt, an optional day tour. And this is to Olympia. Olympia, of course, home of the original Olympic Games. Many of us, well, virtually all of us have seen the Olympics on the TV. Some privileged members might have been to the Olympics and seen the Olympics up close, but very few people have actually been to Olympia, the home of the original Olympic Games. And that's what we're heading out today to do. And here we are actually at the site of Olympia, the Temple of Hydra. Here we've got the last section of the marathon. The marathon runner would have run through that archway into the main stadium, a lap around the stadium, which is still there today, and the marathon was over and done with. The race was won. It's a very, very moving location. It's a very historical destination, and I highly recommend, if you have the inclination, to head out to Olympia. Now, as I mentioned to you, we could have done our trip to Athens in one go, but we would have rushed through the Acropolis Museum, and we wouldn't have given you much time to shop. So this is what today is. So we're heading on day 8 on another included tour. So in all aspects, as long as you sign up by 14th of May, there's only one optional tour that you need to purchase if you wish to purchase that tour. So we'll head back to Athens and we'll arrive to the Acropolis Museum. It's the pride and joy of Greece and Athens. It's a brand new museum built in an old section of Athens. Now, what happened here wasn't to be foreseen, but when they broke ground, they broke into ancient Athens. So there was a myriad of corridors and houses and alleyways all underneath the ground that previous builders had just built on top of. So once this happened, they had to down tools, bring in the Museum of Antiquity, and start excavating and protecting So as you go through the museum, and also as you go close to the main doors of the museum, you'll find these things. Look at them. It's a glass floor. As you wander over these floors, what's underneath them? Yes, ancient Athens. So you'll find houses, you'll find kitchens, it's narrow alleyways. And as you go into the main museum itself, you'll find small glass windows in the floor too, showing you them. I'll show a picture in a moment of a good one of those with ancient Athens underneath. We'll be here with our tour guide that's forgotten, again, more about this area than we'll ever remember. We'll be going through the best of the Greek and Bronze Age, the Roman Byzantine area in Greece, and of course the Athenian times. We could spend weeks inside the museum, so we're going to be only experiencing the best sections of the museum, and then we'll continue. And here we've got ancient Athens underneath. This was left open so you can see how people in ancient times would live. Now, later on, we'll have some free time. Now, on this tour, lunch is included. We'll be having lunch in a small family restaurant close to the Plakea district. And then after lunch, time is free. Again, go out there and help Greece with their GDP. Go out there and buy all your souvenirs. You don't have to be a member of the local Shriners group to go get your fez. You can get it right there. Go and get your evil eyes to ward off evil spirits. Head into the meat and fish markets. Yeah, I don't need to say much about the gold because my wife, yes, she's got quite a bit of it since I've been going to Greece. 24-karat golds, and even some of the evil eyes are surrounded in gold. Lovely pendants and such things as that. We'll come back to the hotel that evening, and before we know it, it'll be our last night. We'll have spent 7 nights, 9 days on the trip, and day 9 will be upon us the next morning, and we'll be heading back to the United States that day with memories of a spectacular destination. Ancient Greece right there in front of us with a warm and inviting, friendly people, camaraderie with chamber travelers from across the country, and welcome to the family of Aventura World. What do you get for the price of this trip? We class you get a lot. So you get round-trip air transportation from Raleigh, North Carolina. It's the only Raleigh, I think, anyhow in this. I don't know. Is there another Raleigh in the United States? I don't know of one, if there is. We've got 7 nights in first-class accommodations. We've got all your meals. Now, again, you're spoilt on this one. You got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Whenever we're on tour, a full-day tour, we'll be having lunch in a local restaurant outside the hotel. When we're on the Corinth Canal, we'll have lunch at the hotel. When we're over on the second city tour of Athens, we'll be having a lunch in a local restaurant. But dinner is at the hotel too. Dinner historically and breakfast is buffet style, but there's something for everything. Everybody, salads, fresh breads, hot and cold plates, numerous types of hot dishes from seafoods, meats, chickens, vegetarian, and such things as that. If you are vegetarian or you have a dietary need, please let us know sooner than later so we can cater to that. We can cater for most dietary needs as long as we know in advance. Okay, we have drinks at the bar each evening. Okay, we've got all your tours as long as you sign up before or on May the 14th. You've got 2 tours into Athens, one to see the Acropolis and ancient sites, another one to the Acropolis Museum and Parthenon. You got the Corinth Canal, you got the Penepolis Peninsula. You've also got, as part of the early bird, the Delphi tour. You've got cultural discovery series. We've got olive oil production. We've got learning about Greek, the Greek aperitif ouzo. We've got 2 question and answers discussions. We've got a professional tour director on the program from arriving in Athens to saying goodbye in Athens, as well as airport representations and local guiding too. Deluxe air-conditioned motor coaches, baggage handling for one piece of luggage to go underneath the aircraft and in and out of the hotel. All this for $32.99 per person, double occupancy. Yes, what terrific value here at a Raleigh. 7 nights, all your meals, my goodness, and your drinks. Really, all you've got to put your hand in your pocket for is shopping in and around Greece as you go along. So you've got a wonderful deal here. Now, on top of that, however, you included in that is $350 worth of fuel, air fuel surcharges. There is $150 worth of land taxes additional that will be billed to you at final payment. Now, this price is an early bird discount price. The $32.99, as long as you reserve before or on May the 14th. After that date, it goes up by $100 to $33.99. And if you want Delphi, it's no longer available as an early bird special. That's $179. So a total of $279 is saved by you if you reserve on or before the 14th. So it's better to be in your pocket than our pocket, bluntly, is what I say. Sign up sooner than later. Try your very best not to wait until the 14th, because there's more than just the Chapel Hill chamber on this date. So I know this trip will sell out, and in a moment, I'm going to show you a couple of things we've developed to make you feel comfortable signing up sooner than later. Now, as you can see at the bottom of this slide and on the brochure itself, we've got a tour activity level. It's a little difficult because we don't assess everybody's abilities for walking and such, but it's used as a guide, and it's a level 3. I'm going to say level 3, 3.5. What does that mean? It means there's on and off of motor coaches. Yes, there is motor coaches, and there are steps getting onto motor coaches. There are some uneven surfaces, which means cobblestones. There are some steps. There are some walking tours. Okay. You are walking on cobbles that, yes, royalty, people have been walking on for centuries upon centuries. And it hasn't changed. So you are in Europe. That's what it certainly is. Now, if you think you can do that, this program is for you. There are 2 places I always like to be very frank and forthright upon, which, if you wish, take your time. We're not in a race. So going up to the Parthenon, yes, there are some steps because it's an ancient site. So you can take your time and just wander up there, and you'll meet us at the top, and I'm sure you'll be perfectly fine. If you don't want to, you can sit at the bottom, and you can just drink in the atmosphere and say, my goodness, I'm at the foot of the Parthenon. And that's just beautiful in itself, the realization. The other one, as I mentioned earlier, is Delphi. And again, that's a relatively easy walk. It's a steady zigzag slope up there, but if you feel you don't want to, this is a program that we've run for many years. We know the ins and outs of it. You could spend some time in the museum and the cafe shop there. As we move on, so that's the program of the main program. Now, approximately 65 to 70% of all our travelers say, I'm already there, why don't I stay a bit longer? So we have a 2-night extension to Santorini, one of the most famous islands in Greece, and the U.S. travelers' favorite. And we have a 2-night extension. Now, from the 13th through, the 11th through to the 13th, what do you get for the extension? 2 nights in a first-class hotel. You've got flights to and from Santorini, back to Athens. We've got a full-day tour of Santorini, including wine tasting, professional tour director on the program. It will be a different one in Santorini. We've got baggage handling in and out of the hotel, as well as transfers to and from the airports in both sides. And that is $7.99 per person double occupancy, or $10.98 single occupancy. The first day is a day, it's a travel day, a day to get from Kineta through Athens, jump on the aircraft, and while those people who unwisely chose not to continue on to Santorini, you'll be waving goodbye to them as they're coming back home to the US. You'll just take a quick up and down, and you'll be on Santorini approximately 45 minutes to an hour later once you're up in the air. As I mentioned, first day is a day to get into the hotel, relax, and again, I'm a big believer in just viewing the area and say, wow, how privileged I am to be here. And you're on Santorini. Santorini, first night's a night to watch the sunset. Santorini is a volcanic island with steep cliff faces all around the island. The towns are perched precariously on the cliff faces itself. And we're here to experience a wonderful destination. Day 10, we'll have our island tour. We'll culminate in Oya, which we're looking at here, but we'll start in the monastery of Proliphis, where you'll see spectacular views of the entire island. On clear days, you'll see ocean-going vessels and other islands, Greek islands, in the distance. We're looking down on the airport we landed the day before. We'll continue on to Pygos, which with its multicolored houses, and culminating at the Greek Orthodox Church at the top of the hill. We'll then continue on to the Wine Museum. I have been running this program for 9 years, and I am not, even if somebody asks me, how do you say the name of the Wine Museum? That's the only thing that I will not answer. Greek is Greek to me. And that, when you get so many words in one name, oh my goodness, my mind just blows. But so what this, when I was a boy, the Greek wine wasn't the best wine in Europe. But over the years, they have done a wonderful job creating a wine industry, especially on Santorini, which is some of the best wine in Europe. And we're going to trace the path of that and also have a spot of wine tasting too. Well, then we'll continue on to the famous Oya, the quintessential and most famous photograph shot in all Greece after the Parthenon, if not in front of the Parthenon. It's its narrow, open cobble streets, blues, greens, yellows, rust reds, and its sky blue onion dome buildings built precariously onto the cliff faces. Before we know it, we'll have spent 2 nights on Santorini, and our second last night, a night to watch the sunset, relax, take it easy, and day 11 we'll find ourselves departing back for the US through Athens and onwards to the US, again with memories of ancient Athens, with cultural diversity, far different than the Carolinas, with great coastal sceneries, world famous sights, and a warm and inviting friendly people. Visas, passports. Visas currently are not required for American, and if we've got a Canadian or two in the crowd in front of us, you too. And no require visas. You're just going to need 2 blank pages and 6 months left on your passport. We are in the European community when we arrive into Athens and throughout the program as well. Now, how do we sign up for the trip? Nice and easy. 2 ways of doing so. One, using the paper registration form on the reverse of the brochure, which Uri has printed up for everybody right there. I can see it in front of you. and we'll go through most briefly in a moment that. It's self-explanatory. Or if you wish, you can use our booking engine. And our booking engine, you'll notice on the front cover, underneath Uri's name, contact details, you'll find a web link, and you'll also find a booking code. It's also on the back of the registration form too. That's how you can use the booking engine, and I'll talk briefly about that in a moment. But let's just quickly talk about the paper form. It's one paper form per person. Your name as it appears in your passport. Yes, if you've got your passport, please make sure you give us the name as it appears in your passport and a copy of your passport too. Okay, you'll be surprised how many people don't know what their real name is. Your name might be different as it is in your passport. So we get many people that tell us that swear blind that their name is Ray and their passport is written Raymond. So that can get us into trouble. So give us a copy of your passport. Ooh, first name, middle name, last name, date of birth, passport number, country of issue, expiration date. If you don't happen to have a passport or your passport's expired, don't wait to get it before you reserve. In the notes section, put applied for passport. This is how my name is in my current passport or in my expired passport. It shouldn't change unless you got married. And then you can get that passport number out to us when you get it and a picture of it. Email address, phone number, cell phone, such things as that. Single occupancy is $6.99 per person. For that, you can watch whatever you want to on the TV in the evening without an argument. Double occupancy, twin. After that, if you're two people sharing the room, tick that box and then circle what type of bed you would like. Alas, there are no king-size beds on this program. When I first came to this country, I was astounded to see a king-size bed. A king-size bed is usually larger than the entire bedroom of a European. So there are twin beds or two beds or beds that push together to make something bigger than a double bed or one bed. Please indicate which one you'd like. One bed, which is double, or twins. And then who you're sharing the room with. Notes underneath there. We don't give you much space, but anything you need us to know about you as a traveler, please let us know. Dietary needs, low sodium, fat-free diets. I'm traveling with the Joneses and I would like to have rooms close to them. We can't guarantee exactly side by side, but we'd like to be close to the Joneses and have them do the same with your last name. If you need an extra line or two, put an extra piece of paper in there and drop it. Now, an extra piece of paper, I ask you, if you're filling out one of these paper forms, please use your Sunday best handwriting and block capitals whenever humanly possible. Because if you have handwriting like what I have, our staff doesn't have no idea what, is that a T? Is it an I? Oh my goodness, that's never an O, is it? So please be very careful when you're filling that out. Then we get into a startable worksheet. So if you would like the optional tours, yes or no. If you reserve by on or before the 14th of May, you don't need to sign up for the Delphi tour. If you're violently opposed to going, cross no. You don't need to go. We don't force you if you don't want to. But you don't have to fill out that $179 in the total box. But if you'd like to go to Olympia, then yes, put $179 in that box. Santorini section. If you'd like to go to Santorini, either as a single or a double, whatever amount it is, drop it in that total box. Now we have a worksheet to calculate the price of the trip. There are two differences between the two columns, one on or before the 14th of May and one afterwards, $22.99, $23.99. So no changes on that, but straight underneath their optional tour costs. So if you'd like to go to Olympia, drop $179 in there. If you'd like to go to, if you're a single, then drop that amount in there. If you'd like to go to Santorini, drop that amount in there, whatever, single or double. and then there's the 150 taxes, total up all those amounts, and that is the price of the trip per person. Now, why do we do that? Is because we want you to understand about travel insurance. Travel insurance is the most important part of any of our programs, and one of the most important, and I hope you all take it out, and I hope you all waste your money on it. You're not going to Greece to see what it was like to claim on an insurance policy. You're going for camaraderie, fun, and adventure. It covers such things. Now, there's one policy and one amendment to that policy. The policy covers pre-trip cancellation for sickness or death of you or an immediate family member. Not a good option to have, so don't try it. But that's what it does. A medical on the trip itself, trip interruption, travel delays, misconnections, emergency medical evacuation, lost baggage, personal effects, baggage delays. That's the policy. Now, you can augment that with what we call cancel for any reasons. And I mentioned we have built a few policies in here to make you feel comfortable in an ever-changing world, that you have some power on what you want to do. So cancel for any reason insurance is exactly as it states. You can cancel off the program. There are a few rules and regulations, and if you can click on this link down below on the brochure as well, you'll be able to read the rules and regulations of the policy. There are two real primary rules. One, if you want cancel for any reason, you must reserve your spot for cancel for any reason no later than 24 hours after your initial deposit is received by us. The second one is cancel the trip no later than 48 hours before the trip departs. Okay, so that's what it is. You might have a broken nail, a bad haircut. You don't want to be seen out in public. The dog doesn't want you to go. It's cancel for any reason. As long as you bought the policy within 24 hours of reserving and you cancel within 48 hours, that's what we've got there. Now, it's a good start. Any policy is a great start. Now, it is an attachment that goes onto the standard policy. Now, if you decide to cancel for any reason, you will gain up to 65% of the penalty amount back from the insurance company. And that's a great start, as I mentioned, but we value you, we value the chamber and their partnership over the years. And we as a company will augment that with a 35% back in future travel credits. We're not an insurance company, so we can't give refunds back. So, but together with the 65% of the penalty amount back from the insurance company and our 35% back from the penalty amount in future travel credits, you're 100% taken care of financially should you decide not to go. If it be this first one, which I hope it isn't, if you fall sick and a doctor states you can't go, then you should be able to gain 100% of the policy amount, 100% of the trip cost back because of this section here. Because this is plus this and this. So they both items run together. Okay. Now you will see, and we'll go through this right now. So now you'll see here we've got the policy cost and the cancel for any reason. So if we use this as a $3,000 to $3,500 figure, it is $221 per person for the insurance. Cancel for any reason insurance is $331.50. It's not plus. Yes, tick which one it is, whatever cost of the trip falls out in the worksheet, look along for that amount of the trip cost and the insurance is underneath. Yes or no, if you'd like it or not. Then we get into trip, calculating the trip deposit. It's $800 per person to reserve your space, including any optional day tours that you wish. So if you'd like to go to Olympia, yes, we need that 179 too. Then, because we are delaying your stay in Greece with different airlines, different dates, hotels, and such, we also need, if you want to go to Santorini, please give us the amount for Santorini with your deposit. Travel protection, if you want that, please indicate the amount in there. And then plus the first amount, second amount, and third amount in this section there. And that's the amount that's due at the time of initial reservation. Okay. If you'd like to give more, please feel free to do so. You won't get chastised for doing that. Final payment is June the 26th on this program, and it's indicated right there. We take payments of checks made out to Aventura World and given through to the chamber, and they will forward it on to us. If you want to pay by credit card, yes, once we receive a full registration form in this, we will send a link to you, and directly with that link, we will send directly to you that link, and you click on that link and it goes directly to our merchant account, their website, not us. We don't see your card ever. And you put in your credit card number in there, and whatever figure is listed here, we will make that link for. So hypothetically, if you only authorize us for $800, you'll gain a link and you'll be able to put $800 on your credit card. As soon as you reserve that, you're on the trip. As soon as that payment has gone through, you're on the trip. Okay. Now, don't forget at that stage, if you want, and you're on the trip. Now, cancel. Now, I apologize. The second section for your security and reassurance is our terms and conditions. Again, we want you to be able to put X on the calendar that you're going to Greece. This is a free one. You don't need to buy a policy to do this. So from the time initial registration all the way up to 131 days before you go, you get a full money back guarantee. Your deposit, 800, your Olympia tour, your Santorini tour, all that comes directly back to you, no questions asked. You'll just send an email to Orion, and he'll whisk it off to us, and we'll initiate the refund process. Okay. And it's as easy as that. Now, the only thing that you don't get back is your travel insurance, because it's non-refundable and it's working for you at the time that you are you reserve the trip. It's covering pre-existing conditions and such things as that. So walk into that, as I say, you wasted your money on insurance. Like, hopefully you waste your money each year on car insurance because you don't get into an accident. Hopefully you waste your money on medical insurance. You don't need your deductible. That's the way I hope the travel insurance works. Sign it, date it, authorize the right amount there, and off we go. Get that over to the chamber and off to us, and we'll get you up and running. For those people who've traveled with us before, you might have reserved online using our booking engine. If you did, then you put in your email address that you lodged with us, your password, which you've done from previous years, and whatever code's underneath there. Press put in the code and then press submit, and you're done. If you haven't, this is a viable option, and it's easy to do. It takes you about 10 minutes from start to finish to get it done. If you haven't, then you're just going to have to make an account with us. Your first name, last name, your email address, and confirm a password. Put a password in, duplicate it, and then put the code in and press submit. You're talking to a computer. As soon as you press submit, there's going to be an email whisking its way to the email address you gave us. If it's not with you within 20 seconds, guess where it is? It's in your spam. If it isn't in your spam, you might have spelled your email address wrong, which is highly unlikely. It's in your spam. Go into your spam, click on it. It'll say, please verify that this is you. Click on the link. voila, it will open up and it will say, okay, here we are. Welcome to the booking engine. Oops, I've moved on too earlier. Once you're on the booking engine itself, you have a little bit of homework because it's going to ask you, who are you? So we just know your first name, last name, and your email address. It's going to ask for your telephone number. It's going to ask for your address. It's going to ask for your passport. It's going to ask for any medical details. If you want to, you can actually attach a photograph of your passport to this. So it's easy and it's all plug and play. You just have to put the work in there first and then you're done. After that, you're then it's going to say, who's traveling with you? Well, my wife, and I'm going to say my 2 kids are. So I'm going to put all their details in there. And then I press save. As soon as I press save, now I can book. So now with the booking code, which is on the brochure, I can then drop in and I can get into the Chapel Hill Greece site, and it will have a lovely picture of Greece, and it'll have the Chapel Hill logo in there. And now you can book. And it'll start with the first section. Who's going on the trip? Passenger number 1. From the pull down, everybody that you just previously put in there will be there. And I'm going to press myself. And it'll say, is somebody else going? Yes. Passenger number 2. Who is it? Okay. It's my wife. Save, move on. What type of beds are you looking for? What type of rooms are you looking for? Sorry. It'll say twin, or is it 2 singles? Or is it a double? Tick whatever it is. And go through all that until you're done. And it's nice and easy because all the information you put in there, you don't need to fill your passport number in there because you've already done it. Now, for those people who worked with us in the past, in the old days, you could fill out you could buy your insurance on our website. You can't currently do that at this moment. So once you have completed the last step, which is paying for, and please remember this, paying for your deposit and any options, you'll put your credit card in there, you'll press send, and don't go anywhere. It'll say don't go anywhere. And a pop-up will appear. And this pop-up will appear. It's the insurance. Now, if you have super strong pop-up blocker or some sort of virus protection that you screwed it down so tight, sometimes you can't get on the internet yourself, then that might be an issue. This might not pop up. Remember this if it doesn't. Go onto our website, aventuraworld.com. On the main page, scroll right down to the bottom. You'll see travel protection in a heading down there. Click on that. It'll open up a PDF. There's a big red box in there that says buy policy. This will pull up. So that's another way to do it. And now you're talking directly with the insurance company. And this is, especially if you want cancel for any reason insurance, don't forget you only have 24 hours to do it. So the departure date, only fill out the starred section. Departure date, trip cost, return date, number of insured passengers. Please make your own policy. If you and a travel companion, or you and your wife are going, you and your husband are going, have your own policy, please, especially if you're doing cancel for any reason. State of residency, press instant quote, and here we are. We got a list of all the included features and the limits of the policy. This is a HTML format, which I had to break into 2. We're on step 2. Now, as you see here, we're going through it all. Now, there's a section here that says cancel for any reason insurance. If you want cancel for any reason, tick that box right there. And this large box underneath is a calendar. Click on there when you purchased the trip via deposit from us. Okay, and that's it. Notice it does say New York residents are not allowed to have cancel for any reason. It's a New York State insurance requirement. I don't know why it is, but if you're a resident of New York, you can't have it. Other than that, you're okay. Click this orange line here, which is submit, and now you're in step 3. It's your details, your name, last name, There's no star on member ID, stars on all this because this is your personal details. Now, there's no star on email, but I'm going to show you something here now. If you want your policy emailed to you, make sure you've put your email here. And here it is. How should we deliver your policy or description of coverage? If you click email, obviously you've got to give them your email address. If you want it by postal service, then you've already given the address. No beneficiary information is required. Relationship, none of that. Everything else is not needed until we get to this section. Where you're going to? Easy. Going to Greece. That's really easy. What airline we're traveling on? I don't know that. So again, how are you going to know that? The airlines don't know that at the moment, where they're going to next week, never mind in November. So from the pull down, the last section of the pull down is undecided. Click that and then press submit. Step 4 is payment. Put in your credit card and you're done. And we certainly hope you'll join us on a terrific travel year, 2023. And anybody got any questions for me?
If he doesn't shout them out, it's fine.
Okay, so I got a little bit confused about the policy cost, the cancel for any reason cost, and the travel protection. I don't quite understand the difference to those.
We
I get cancel for any reason. Does that mean is the policy cost included in that, or do I have to pay both of them?
So it's one or the other. So it's not plus. So if you want cancel for any reason, and again, for the example I gave was on the 3,000 to 3,500. The standard policy, which is cancel for a reason, which is medical pre-trip, is $221 a person. Cancel for any reason is $331.50. You'll say 50 cents is unusual. Well, it's 50% more of the standard policy amount for the cancel for any reason, hence the 50 cents.
Okay, so I wouldn't pay both of those, I just pay the one.
You only pay one. Yes.
And how is that different from travel protection?
How is it different than travel protection? Great question. So you have travel protection included in it, which the travel protection is lost luggage, flight delays, trip, that type, all that medical on the trip, medical before you go if you have to cancel, but cancel for any reason is as per its wording. You can cancel you don't have to have the insurance company say to you, no, that's not a covered event. This is cancel for any reason. As long as you reserve within for that policy within 24 hours of your initial deposit and you cancel within 48 hours, you're in charge of that trip.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Of course. And again, there are some other little rules and regulations, which I strongly encourage you to click on this link that you see right here, which is on the insurance. It's right there, look, and you'll be able to review. Even if you buy it within 24 hours, you have a 10-day window to rescind. They'll give you your money back within 10 days.
Any idea on how long the flights are? So we leave on the 3rd and we get there on the 4th.
Yeah.
So any idea what time we leave, what time we get there, and on the return, what time we leave, what time we get home?
Yeah. It's a great question, and it's one of those that I can only give you an approximate. Why? Because still the airline industry is not back to full working terms as of 2019 and such. But it's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of a noon to mid-afternoon departure out of Raleigh with a connection to an early to mid-evening flight overnight to a European gateway, which will be arriving somewhere in the morning with a connection into, that's worst case scenario, with a connection into Athens. There are sometimes, and again, there might be a possibility of a US gateway directly into Athens, but when it's out of my control and when it's the airlines that we're discussing, I can't guarantee such. So let's just say hypothetically it's New York. So, you know, New York, it's about an hour and an hour and 20 minutes or so, an hour and 30 minutes to New York. From there, it's an overnight flight, let's just say 7 hours or so, hypothetically, for want of a better destination, into Frankfurt, and then Frankfurt to Athens, which is about 2.5 hours. Okay. And the reason we don't, I mean, we have air schedules throughout the year blocked, but we know that experience has taught us in this new world we're living in that those flights are going to change between 4 to 6 times before you even fly, and you won't know that.
I have a question about COVID protections and precautions. What COVID and protections or precautions are required or expected in the EU and for tour members?
Yeah. So I'm going to expand on that. Thank you for asking that question. Great question. So Adventure World has no longer any COVID rules and regulations. It's personal choice. If you wish to wear a mask, please feel free to do so. It's a personal choice. We always mirror image. 1, the US, and 2, the regulations of the destination you're going to. Greece has no rules or regulations in regards to COVID at all. So you will find that like I can see somebody there with a mask on, and you'll find people on the planes in a mask. You'll find a lot of people without masks. You'll find people wandering the Acropolis in a mask. You'll find a lot of people without masks. It's personal choice in today's day and age. There are no rules or regulations coming back into the United States that require that you must have a test and produce a negative test before you come back to the United States. Those days have gone, thank goodness, or it depends on who you are in the industry. We say thank goodness, but it's all personal choice.
Okay.
So how many people are on these tours? You said it wasn't just the Chapel Chamber.
Yes. So that's a great question. So I don't know how many people are going to be on the tour, but to answer your question in a different way, we may have multiple motor coaches on the trip itself. So we might have 2 motor coaches. We've had 3 motor coaches sometimes. Each coach obviously has their own driver. Each coach has their own tour director and guide, and they run independently. So sooner than to say, hey, it's going to be X amount of people, because I can't answer that question, our philosophy is not to fill a motor coach. So on a motor coach, along with your guide and your whisper system, you will, our motor coaches in Greece hold up to 48 to 50 people. We don't like to put more than 42 people on a coach. So if I was to come in with an answer of your question, that's how many people would be on your tour, maximum. Of course, there'll be, like any hotel anywhere in the world, there'll be lots of people in the hotel, there'll be lots of people in the bar, there'll be lots of people at the Acropolis, Parthenon. But on your tour, that would be about the size of the trip.
Okay. I have a question about tips. Are tips and gratuities covered for the hotel staff, for the drivers and the guides? Or okay, would customs expect us to take care of that, local customs? Because I've been in some places where you're not allowed to give tips, and there's some places where they're expected.
Okay, great. So if I heard that right, our tips included on the tours. Tips are always appreciate. We do not include them on our tours because it is individual choice. For good service, we will give you, and I'll tell you what that is in a moment, but we will give you a guideline for good service, what tips are. Tips are for your tour director, your local guide, and your driver. And it's somewhere in the vicinity of 3 to 5 euros per person per day for your driver and your tour director, and between 5 and 8 euros per person per day for your guide. We will give you documentation which will have all these things in it, as well as lots of other things before you depart, and we'll be having another one of these events before you depart too, to answer your questions, to prepare you for the trip.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, and what about cell phones? Do you have to get some kind of special cell phone coverage to use your cell phone?
In today's day, if you never used a cell, so Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, have I got the main ones there? I think I've got the main ones, haven't I? Anything except that consumer cellular, the one that's always on the TV for really inexpensive. They don't have an international plan, but all the rest of them usually have an international plan. If you've been overseas with it before, you shouldn't have to activate it again. But if you haven't, give your provider a call and you'll be able to get a data and a voice plan with limits on it, or you'll be able to get unlimited, and you'll be able to figure it out from there.
Thank you.
How about electrical adapters?
Yes. Electrical adapters, we're on a European plug, a 2-pin round plug, not a 2-pin flat plug. So yes, you would need an adapter. Go to Staples, Best Buy, whole host of electronics stores. Go to Amazon. You'll be able to buy the adapters of the world for $10 to $15. Take the European one with you and set it, and off you go.
Does one adapter work for Greece as well as Europe?
As well, Greece and
Europe.
yes, Greece is on European. Yes, it is. Yes, it's one. Any other questions? Or forever hold your peace. And again, I joke, I ingest, you can always get hold of Orion if as soon as we stop this event, oh my goodness, I forgot. He'll get hold of us and we'll answer it through him.